This podcast is proudly presented to you by merchantsrs.com for all your Runescape merchanting needs. Alright guys, I'm going to get straight into it. Basically, from this cast, I hope to tell you how to make money off future updates that Runescape implement into the game. First, we need to classify the update and what it is. So, we have updates that affect the economy a lot more than they affect the community, and updates that affect the community a lot more than the economy. Don't get me wrong, there's always links, or they'll always affect each other a little bit, so yeah, they're always going to affect the economy and the community, just going to be varying in scales. So an example of this, I should say, of one that didn't affect the economy too much but had a huge effect on the game would be the introduction of Runescape High Definition, and that was in July, and that had a huge effect on the community with these new stunning graphics. The reason it didn't have a huge effect on the economy was because nothing in the game changed as such. You didn't need new skills, new goods, nothing new like that to participate in the update. So therefore, there wasn't a demand for like food, armor, etc. You could just go around and explore the new world. Of course, that is a bit contradictory because, as I said before, there's always a relationship link between the update, like between the economy and community. So say people wanted to go, check out the new Catlefight Queen because she had been reported, to look real scary with the new updates. So, and you think of the situation, Catlefight Queen, what are you going to need to survive? You're going to need food and pots, blah blah blah. Main thing's food. So food is going to be a huge thing there. So of course people are going to buy food, but it's not a big enough update because it's just not, it's the willing's not there of other people to do that. So there's a small proportion that want to do that. So of course you can make a tiny bit of money, but the profit is not going to be there with other updates. Now, onto the other trend. So I'm trying to just use recent updates here. Like I can use I'll just give you the example of the future one at the end of the article. But a previous one that we could have made money, that you could have made money on, because I did. I would use as Clan Wars. That was only introduced this month, I think. And what I should mention right now is the tool that merchanters like us now have is behind the scenes. It's a huge insight. It gives so much information on what's going to happen, and we can use this to predict trends, etc, what to invest in. It's a huge thing for merchanters. So pay very close attention to this, and probably in this article I'll teach you how to I'll teach you right now. It's not very hard at all. Just looking in the article, look for updates, and as I said, you gotta just put them into categories. Is this going to be a more economical update or a more community based update? And you just got to think about it. What are the players going to need for this update? They're going to need food. They're going to need pots. They're going to need certain farming utensils. You just have to think. You have to use your brain. It's not really that hard. It's simple logic. That's what it is. Everything in the game is simple logic. So you just got to put it together. Anyway, that's pretty much that. But as an example, like if you want to keen merchants before they go behind the scenes, I had to look at like Zamarok letters and postbag from the heads. I don't know even what that's called. Just stuff like that. So it was a lot more difficult to interpret what was going to happen. But yeah, this behind the scenes is a huge thing. Now, what was I going to talk to you guys about? Oh, of course, the Clan Wars update. So what are we going to need to... Clan Wars, it introduced PvP. You're going to be versing each other, and they introduced free-for-all battles, losing items on death. Now, if you think about this, we think of a simple, psychological factor, which is everyone wants to be a winner. Everyone wants to be the last man standing. You can't change that. If you don't want to be a winner, you're a fucking loser. It's simple as that. Now, how can we help people achieve to be a winner? So if we want to be the winner, what are we going to need? We're going to need food, we're going to need pots, we're going to need weaponry and armor. Simple as that. This is a very simple update to interpret. So if we know this, we need to provide it to the customer. Yes. So what we're going to do is, before the update, this is what we refer to the behind the scenes update. So once you find these things, you go and do it like straight then. The thing though you must realize is the opportunity cost. You have to give up money then, which you won't have later on until you sell the items. You need to make sure that you're going to make the investment. So the example of this is you might want to buy, maybe it might be 3 weeks before the update comes out, you might use half your whole GP to buy an investment of sharks. This means that you're not going to have that money until you sell them. So you must be prepared to make sacrifices. But once again, only ever merchant what you are prepared to lose, because there's always a chance that you may lose it due to big factors. And I'll be writing a very interesting blog, my next podcast, and it will also be on my merchantsrs.com, a blog about how jagex may be controlling the economy more than we think. I have a very interesting screenshot, so I'm sure a lot of you will find that quite interesting. Anyway, back to the point. You only buy what you are prepared to lose. So say we'll buy like 5k sharks. It depends, buy as much as you want. As I said, only ever do what you're willing to lose. And we hopefully buy this as soon as you've interpreted the update. We buy that, we let it sell. Then we realise, when the update comes out, we have a margin of say 72 hours. This is how long the updates at their peak normally last. Where everyone's, oh, new update, let's go try this out, see how it works. That normally lasts for about 3 days. So this is your margin, your time window to make the profit. When the update comes out, you put on the market. You may want to wait a few hours. It doesn't matter, because it depends what time zone you live in, of course. Sell them for max, and they of course should get max quite easily because the demand is very high. Of course, the demand should be very high, and then of course if you have the supply, you can meet the demand for your price. Very simple concept, and that works for pots as well. Examples of the pots you want to be using is very logical. For free players, the only pot I often offer is strength potions, so you use that. Members, the fighting potions, use supersets, prayer pots, super restores, and of course sour brews. Simple, very very simple concepts. Yeah. Alright, I'll just wrap this up now, get a bit of a conclusion coming in. Basically, to be able to successfully merchant with updates, we're going to have to look in the behind the scenes. We're going to establish if an update is going to be community based or economic based. Once we establish that, we can then plan ahead of a plan of attack. So what are we going to buy? And we're going to go to the GE, we're going to try to buy it then for as low price as possible, of course. We're going to then wait for the update to come, and then of course we have that 72-hour peak to sell the item. It does take a bit of logical sense to establish which items. If the item's going to be, player versus player or monsters, you are of course going to need food and pots, maybe some armor, but it's always best to go food and pots because they are bulk items. So we'll go buy that. We'll buy a stack of those. Of course, the main rule is you can only buy what you are willing to lose, because there is always a chance with merchanting that you will lose. So once you have that stack, you have to keep on that. Of course, you're losing, as I said before, opportunity costs. So you're not going to have some money until that stuff sells. But yeah, that's the way it is. So you got to deal with that. And of course, once the update comes, you sell these items, and you should make a nice little profit. That's it for now. This is just very basic kind of merchanting tips, and you can expect a lot more. Hope you guys will tune in to my next cast, and as I said before, it's got some very very interesting insights into how jagex may be playing a bigger part of our economy than we think. So until then, thanks for listening.